What's up, y'all? This is Daryl D. I'm out here in New York, Rocksteady Park in Manhattan right now. I gotta tell you guys about this really cool experience that just happened to me a couple of days ago. Um, Over the years, I've had the pleasure of meeting a lot of people, from hip-hop culture, different aspects of it. And as far as rap goes, I've met a lot of rappers, a lot of groups. I've worked with a lot of them. I've done a lot of cool things, and I've met some of the greatest individuals in rap music. Of all the people that I've met, there are still some that are like really high on the top of my list that I haven't met yet. And I want to tell you about finally meeting one of those people. So let me just start from the beginning. A few days ago at Lincoln Center, there was a concert out there, and it was the Far Side and Arrested Development. I could just go off on the Far Side and Arrested Development. Those are whole different separate stories I could go on about both of those groups. But this concert also featured Evil D. There were a lot of special guests like Renee from Janae. Who else appeared? Dead Prez. And I think one or two other people. I don't recall. Anyway, I get to Lincoln Center. Me and my homeboy Diego, we get to Lincoln Center. As soon as I get off the subway, I run into my homeboy Dre Mays from Yonkers. And I haven't seen Dre for a couple years, but that's my man 50 grand, for real. And I was hoping I was gonna get to see him this summer. I usually run into him at the Crotona Park Jams, but he didn't make it on the day that I was there. So I run into Dre. All of us, we go into the concert. It's incredible. Check this page for highlights on that concert. Anyway, afterwards, I'm like, yo, let's go get something to eat, you know what I'm saying, my treat or whatever. And I don't know, granted New York has a zillion places to eat. It's still hard for me to find something that I really enjoy and something that's somewhat affordable. I couldn't think of anything. Now, my stomping grounds of Manhattan mainly is right around 100th Street and Broadway. That is, I got a few homeboys that live in that area. So, I can't think of a place, but there's a pizza shop up there that I've gone to many times with my homeboy John. So, AKA J Blast. So, I just asked Dre, yo, you want to mess around with some pizza? He's like, of course, let's do it. So I called John. I was like, yo, meet us at the pizza spot up there on 100. He's like, cool. So we all meet up there. Now, the reason why this part of the story is so significant is because I was just going to head after the concert back up to Harlem where I'm staying, and there's plenty of places around there to eat. So, but because, I ran into Dre, I kind of wanted to take him somewhere that was closer than that and, something that he would like or whatever. Anyway, we all meet up in the pizza shop. We order, eat our food. Afterwards, we're just chilling. conversating, hanging out, you know, talking about the show and all kinds of crazy stuff. And I'm sitting there talking, and all of a sudden, I look up over, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I was just like, well, like I was like in shock. And you know who walked in? It was none other than Dougie Fresh. Now, I am a huge Dougie Fresh fan, huge. And every year that I get here, I tell my homeboy John, who knows a lot of people, I said, man, I want to meet Dougie Fresh. I want to meet Dougie Fresh. And it just so happens, like, I'm leaving in a few days. The day that I fly back home is the day that Dougie Fresh is doing a free concert at Crotona Park with Funkmaster Flex and Tila Rock and Melly Mel and Scorpio of the Furious Five and Tanya Gardner and the Strife and Fonda Ray and a few other people completely free, and I don't get to meet them. And as if that wasn't bad enough, the day after that, which would be the August 2nd, Dougie Fresh, Big Daddy Kane, and Johnny Gill are doing a free show in Harlem in front of the Apollo, free. So here I am, so close. Two occasions I'm so close where I could finally get to meet Dougie Fresh, and I'm not gonna be around. Now, just to go back a little, I have every record Dougie Fresh has ever done on vinyl. I was at a lot of those early shows. I think the first time I saw Dougie Fresh was on the Dope Jam tour, which also featured Kumo D, Eric B. and Rakim, Big Daddy Kane, Ice-T, all of them on the same tour. I also saw Dougie in '87 on the LL Cool J. I forgot what the name of that tour was, but it was Public Enemy, Dougie Fresh. Who else was on that tour? Houdini, Digital Underground, and LL Cool J. This was right after the LL Bad album dropped, so this tour was crazy. I might have seen him one other time after that, back in those days. As far as modern times, maybe this was before COVID, Dougie Fresh was in Phoenix, and he was actually hosting a comedy show, like a big comedy show. It was at a really big venue. And so, needless to say, I didn't get to run into him there. So, when Dougie Fresh walked in there, I was like speechless. I couldn't believe I was like, wow, man, I've been chasing this dude for years, trying to get an autograph or picture or something, and he just walks right in the pizza shop, him and his homeboy. And finally, when I saw him after a few seconds, I was like, oh my God. And then I was like, Dougie Fresh. And then everybody at the table was like, Dougie Fresh, Dougie Fresh. It was, oh man, it was so cool. He turned around, he's like, oh, what's up, y'all? And I was just like, I didn't even know what to say. I was tripping. So everybody's kind of making small talk. He starts talking about how, he's been going to that pizza place for years. His favorite place, best pizza in New York, all of that kind of stuff. And I didn't have anything for him to sign. In fact, I've been caught out there before where I wanted somebody to sign something, but I didn't have, anything on me because I wasn't expecting to run into anybody. And a couple of times what I did was I just took off my sneaker because I have a huge autographed sneaker collection. Check for those videos. I've done one. I'm about to drop the second one. So you'll be seeing a lot of that. But I couldn't even really do that this time because I normally wear shell toes or Pumas. Let me tell you this little side story real quick. When I come to New York, I usually buy myself a new pair of sneakers. I bought myself a pair of sneakers about 2-3 months ago. Just regular shell toes. And I left, I got them, I put them away, and then when I was ready to come to New York, I threw them on. I noticed right away they were kind of tight, so I kind of loosened the strings, but they just seemed to be tight, so I loosened the strings some more, and I get on the plane. I think it was when I got to New York and I got, to my room or whatever, I think that's when I took them off and I was like, what is wrong? It felt like they were like 2 sizes too small. So upon a closer inspection, I realized that they were like fake shell toes. Somebody sold me, because I bought them off of eBay. Somebody sold me some fake shell toes, and that's why they didn't fit right. So like the next day, I had to go out and buy me another pair of shoes. And shell toes, and even like the Pumas, like the plain leather Pumas, they're like excellent for like riding on. But all shoes aren't. And I was looking for the first pair of size 10 sneakers that I could find because my feet were killing me. So we were down in a village somewhere, and I went in this, is that better? It's a little better lighting. So I went down, I went by this this vintage shop. It had all of this, pop culture stuff, blah, 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 blah. And I bought a pair of sneakers in there. And here's what those sneakers look like. Okay? You can see I've been dogging them. But it's like all canvas, right? There's not really, you can't really write on there. Not anything successful. Sometimes I even have them signed here, but you see that's all goofy and bumpy looking and all that. So I couldn't use my shoe. And I didn't have anything. So my boy John, who was bringing me a marker, brought me this silver marker, and he had like literally handed it to me, right after he got there, and we sat down. So I had a marker, but I didn't have anything to sign. Well, at the show at Lincoln Center, the Far Side Arrested Development show, I bought a few items. One of the things I bought was this right here. Excuse me, y'all. I'm just trying to make sure my lighting's good. I can't. Anyway, I had bought this this J period 45, right? So I just grabbed that, and I grabbed this marker, and I was just gonna have, desperate times calls for desperate measures. So I was just gonna have him sign the plastic sleeve, and then I was gonna go home and put this plastic sleeve over one of my Dougie Fresh 45s. This is a 45. Well, he tries to write on there, and that wasn't happening. Nothing was sticking. So I'm thinking, okay, there's a white plastic sleeve in here. I'll get him to sign that, right? So open that up. This is a really cool 45, by the way. It's like got a little storybook to it, like the old school back in the 70s. You have the record and the storybook. So there's no white sleeve on there. There's just this. So the only other thing I could do was take this record out and have him sign right there. I don't know if you can see that too well. But it says much love and respect, Dougie Fresh 2025. So I did manage to get an autograph from Dougie. And man, Dougie Fresh is everything that he portrays to be. Just the coolest guy. Stood there and had small talk with us. I was telling him about some of the old concerts back in the 80s that I had been to where he performed. And man, just a down-to-earth guy. He was telling us how he just come from Boston and from doing a show out there. And he was telling us about how he was explaining to some of the younger people there that he came up with the dance to Dougie. Yes, he invented that. And just reminiscing, he had just dropped off Barry B, which is crazy. I did get to meet Barry B once and Chill Will, but man, I was completely starstruck. I've been trying to meet Dougie forever, and I finally got to meet Dougie Fresh, and he was the coolest, most down-to-earth person that you could think. One of the coolest people that I've ever met in rap. Everybody's not that cool, but Dougie is definitely a stand-up dude, and I still I did get a picture that I'll put on here at some point, and I still want to meet him again and get him on the record, on the Dougie Fresh album, and get him on on my sneaker, so he'll be a part of my sneaker collection as well. So hopefully that'll happen sooner than later. I wish I was staying here a couple days longer. It would be really, really cool, because I know I would be able to see him and get him to sign something. I can find something here. I can go find a Dougie Fresh record pretty easy. But yeah, man, that's my hip-hop story, man, for today. And if Dougie ever sees this, I just want to say, man, thank you so much for being so cool. I'm so glad I finally got to meet somebody that I admire so much, whose music I admire so much, and who I followed pretty much since day one. And here's what's crazy. Back at my room, I actually had my Beat Street record. I had my Beat Street record. I just wish I had it on me. But what are you gonna do, right? What are you gonna do? So, thank you guys for listening. This is Daryl D with another hip-hop story, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace and love.